Autumn arrived quietly in Willow Creek. Mornings filled with crisp air, the scent of wood smoke, and the soft rustle of falling leaves. Eleanor's bookshop glowed warmly in the early light, a constant refuge for wanderers and dreamers. Thomas, now reinstated as the station master, stopped by every morning at exactly 7:20, not because he had to, but because his heart insisted. Their routine became a gentle rhythm: coffee, a short walk, a stolen smile, a moment of softness in a world that often felt too hard. But as the days shortened and nights grew colder, something unspoken lingered between them, a quiet question neither dared to voice. What would this become? Afraid to break something beautiful, one chilly evening, Thomas invited Eleanor to the railway station after closing time. The place was quiet, the lamps dim, the tracks gleaming under the pale moonlight. "I want to show you something," he said. He led her to the observation deck overlooking the valley. The town lights flickered below like tiny stars, and far in the distance, the river shimmered in the moonlight. "When I was younger," Thomas whispered, "I used to come here to listen to the trains and dream of a life bigger than this place." "And now?" Eleanor asked gently. "Now," he said, turning toward her, "I dream of something smaller, quieter, but far more precious." Eleanor's heart tightened. She knew what he meant. She felt the same. Yet a shadow of fear crept into her voice. "Thomas, what if we ruin it? What if trying to define this takes the magic away?" He took her hands, warm against the autumn chill. "Then we won't try to define it," he said softly. "We'll just live it, one day at a time." For the first time in years, Eleanor allowed herself to lean into someone, not out of need but out of choice. A page from the past. One afternoon, Eleanor discovered a box of old letters in the back of her shop, dusty envelopes from early customers, forgotten love notes tucked inside secondhand books, fragments of stories left behind. She began displaying them in a small corner, calling it the memory shelf. Thomas loved it. Every evening he would pick one letter, read it aloud, and they would imagine the lives behind the ink. But one letter was different. It was unsigned, old. The ink was fading. "If time were kinder, I would have held you longer, but life asked us to let go. If we ever meet again, I hope we recognize the courage in one another's eyes." Eleanor froze. It was written by her late husband, years before he fell ill. Thomas saw her trembling and gently took the letter from her hands. "You knew him well," Thomas whispered. "I loved him," Eleanor said quietly. "And I thought loving again meant betraying the past." Thomas shook his head. "No. It means you survived it. It means your heart is still alive." Her tears came silently, and Thomas held her through it, not jealous of her past, but grateful for the woman it had shaped. A storm, a confession, and a promise. Winter arrived early that year, bringing strong winds and heavy rain. One stormy evening, the trains were delayed, and Thomas stayed late at the station. Eleanor, worried about him, walked through the rain with a lantern in her hand. She found him in the office, coat soaked, hair dripping, but still checking schedules carefully. The man who never left things unfinished. "You should have sent word," she scolded lightly. "I didn't want you walking in this weather," he replied. "Well, I did," she said, catching her breath. "And that's when it hit me. I would walk through 1,000 storms if it meant reaching you." Thomas stared at her, genuinely stunned. Eleanor took a trembling breath. "Thomas, I love you. Not as a replacement, not as a second life, but as my life now." He stepped toward her, rainwater still trailing down his coat. "And I love you," he whispered. "You are my beginning again." He kissed her, softly, reverently, the way adults love, carefully, honestly, fully aware of how fragile and precious it all is. Under the willow tree. When spring came, Willow Creek bloomed with soft pink blossoms. One evening, Thomas took Eleanor to the old willow tree by the river, the place where young lovers carved initials, where childhood promises were whispered into bark. In his hand, he held a small wooden box. "I don't need a wedding," he said. "I don't need anything grand. I just need this." He opened the box. Inside was a simple silver bracelet, a promise that whatever years life gives us, we spend them side by side. Eleanor's smile trembled with emotion. She held out her wrist. Thomas fastened the bracelet, and under that willow tree, they made a quiet vow, the kind only two grown hearts can make: to not waste time, to not hide love, to choose each other every single day.